Since it was launched in 2023, Oakridge Property Group has quickly established itself as one of the fastest growing boutique property investment businesses in the market. Specialising in providing investors with access to exclusive opportunities, Oakridge focuses on structured fixed income, land acquisition for development, and buy-to-let investments. Yet, despite being a relative newcomer, the company has made remarkable strides and is now a trusted full-service provider in the property investment sector. Now, to all intents and purposes, it is a remarkable story, and I'm delighted to say that I'm now joined by Sam Bright. Sam is the Managing Director and founder of Oakridge Property Group. Sam, it is very good to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Juliet. First and foremost, thank you very much for having me. And how are you?
I am very well, thank you. All the better because I'm now speaking to you, because what I want you to do is to give me some detail, because I've outlined what it is that Oakridge does, but can you add some more meat to the bones and just give us an idea in a little bit more detail about what it is that you do to explain effectively why people are coming to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of what we do, Juliet, Oakridge Property Group is an all-round boutique business, and we work across the full property sector. As a business day to day, we specialize in property investment. Essentially, we advise investors of all shapes and sizes coming from all across the world, and we give them access to exclusive opportunities. Some of them can be in development funding, whereby our investors will fund developments primarily here in the UK, where they're then able to achieve a fixed rate return on their initial capital. And there are even cases where we've had joint ventures and profit shares that we're able to offer as well. On top of that, we also operate as a land agency, which is essentially sourcing land suitable for development, whether that would be in hospitality, care, residential, or even commercial sites up and down the UK.
So it's a very diverse plateau that you've offered up there. But look, you are operating in a space which is very exciting and very competitive. So
Absolutely.
what is it that sets you apart from other players in this field?
Yeah, it's a great question. In terms of what sets us apart, Julia, I would say it's quite simply relatability. We are not naive to the fact that as a potential investor, if you were to type the word investments into Google, for example, it can be an absolute minefield and actually totally overwhelming. So we understand the psychological challenges that everyday people face when actually just searching for an investment opportunity. So we are here to hold our clients' hands and build long-term relationships, but actually just simplify the entire investment process.
And that's important because it is a very complex area. I don't really think that people
Absolutely.
get the full sense of how
Yeah.
difficult property is, because we have all sorts of programs in this country which make it look very, very simple, as stroll in the park. But anybody who's tried to do that will tell you that it's quite involved. But
Yeah.
the other thing, I guess, which sets you apart is that your company is very young. As I said in my introduction, it was launched in 2023, but you have done so much in that time. You've really hit the ground running. So what is it that has helped you to do that, to reach out and to attract an international clientele?
Yeah, I'd say a bit of luck, Juliet, and hard work, of course, is the cliche answer. Both myself and my partner, we come from private equity backgrounds, so I'd be lying if I said we had a standing start. Also, coming from that background, we know better than anyone that starting up a company and building from the ground up, it's a tough slog to say the least. The connections and mentors that we've met along the way have helped massively, as well as previous relationships with investors, primarily where the trust has already been built, money's been made. That's definitely made things a lot easier for us, as trust, as you know, Juliet, is arguably one of the most basic fundamentals when it comes to actually building relationships in business. But in all honesty, although Oakridge was officially incepted in 2023, there was actually a good 4 to 5 year plan prior to getting the company off the ground. So although it may seem from the outside looking in, based upon the capital that has been raised and the awards that have been won, the real structure and foundation to the company was created behind closed doors. It definitely wasn't an overnight idea that just formed Oakridge.
And that's really important because yes, the business plan was drawn up 4 to 5 years ago, but obviously it would have had to have been refined as well, given the changing circumstances. But
Yeah,
what I find fascinating is that you've launched this company, and I'm sure that along the way you've seen other rivals and they've just kicked the bucket, to put it bluntly.
yeah.
And, how do you sustain yourself when something like that happens? Actually having the psychological momentum to carry forward, that's one challenge. But what are the other challenges that come at the beginning of a business journey so that you stand out and your fundamentals, the business fundamentals, hold firm?
Yes, it's another great question. And it was actually a question that I've been asked quite recently, actually, by somebody the other day. And I think, yes, every business will have its challenges. And in business, snowflakes, they can quite often become avalanches if they're not tackled and dealt with head on there and then. So aside from your typical challenges of an investment company or an investment advisory, which could be anything from, trust, fear of loss, lack of awareness from investors, which, by the way, I think every investment advisor will go through, especially and particularly startups. On top of that, with Oakridge being a startup, we've also got a very young leadership team. And psychologically, investing in the best circumstances is hard enough. And when you're working with a completely new investor and you're looking to build a whole new relationship, it doesn't really take much to knock someone's confidence. So the sheer age of the business has come up once or twice in conversation, but also the age of the directors on the company. Myself, I'm 24 years old, and my partner, he's 29 years old. So I do completely understand two guys in their 20s. It can be quite hard for clients who are older than us to perhaps relate to what it is we're doing without fully understanding our experience. But I know you should never wish your life away. And that's something my granddad always used to tell me. But after conversations like that, I wouldn't mind the extra 10, 15 years on me, or a few more grey hairs. And, I say a few more because they're
Well, I'm
definitely
quite happy
starting
to
to
give you
show
some of
through.
mine if that's any
Oh, I'll take them.
consolation.
I'll happily take them, Juliet.
I just wish you hadn't mentioned your age as well, because you're making me feel terribly old. But on the other hand, the thing which I really like in that answer is the emphasis which you put on trust. KYC, know your client. Okay, really
Absolutely.
important. Something which a lot of companies overlook, or certainly a lot of young entrepreneurs. So that's one piece of advice. Know your customer. But what other pieces of advice would you give to young entrepreneurs who aspire to achieve what you've achieved, okay, within the property investment sector? Because let's not gloss over it. It is hugely competitive, and
Mhm.
not everybody's going to win in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of giving inspiring advice to others, I'm by no means at the stage where I can start, giving advice and writing self-help books or becoming this business guru. But
It's only a
the
matter of time, though.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, the main thing that I would say is sometimes you've just got to take that leap of faith. And if you've got an idea and you've got the right team behind you, then as difficult as it may seem to begin with, you've just got to trust your own abilities and take that jump. And there will 100% be tough days. And there'll be days where you question what you're doing and if you're doing the right thing. But again, that is very natural and unfortunately human nature. But another thing that I'd say is really, really important and actually crucial to the success of Oakridge is just taking advice from others. It can be very easy as young business owners or a young business owner to have sort of tunnel vision and have all these great ideas and want to change the world. But having someone there to keep your feet on the ground is vital. And I've been really lucky to actually have mentors in my life that have decades of experience within the sector guide me along the way. And in actual fact, they're probably one of the main reasons to Oakridge's success. And I think another benefit to taking advice from more experienced professionals is that you can learn from their mistakes. And as a result, you don't make them yourself and you save a lot of time, effort, and money as well.
And people want to share their knowledge as well. It's very important to recognize that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, to answer your question shortly, Juliet, yeah, take advice from others, those that have been there, seen it, and done it. And nothing that comes easy is worth having, in my opinion.
And I think the other thing as well, and I gleaned this from your previous answer as well, is that you sat down, you drew up your business plan, and okay, everything happened to schedule. But again, there's a sense of, look, it doesn't matter if it takes you 10 years to get somewhere. Don't rush things and don't compare yourself to
Absolutely.
others.
Yeah, 100%.
And look, let's take the crystal ball and look into the future. You're doing very well now, but what do you see as the big challenges for Oakridge going forward?
Yeah, so we've got some exciting bits happening in the pipeline. We've had a few conditional offers for sites that we're looking to acquire. One of those sites we've managed to secure exclusively and actually JV with the landowner. So we've now officially have planning, and there'll be works that begin, I'd say, within the next sort of 2 months. We've also been putting the work in and putting the wheels in motion on a leisure project, which I can't speak too much about now, but we'll be making announcements towards the back end of the year regarding Oakridge Leisure, which will be a whole new arm to the business, which involves acquiring sites up and down the country for the sole purpose of sports and leisure facilities to be developed. There is definitely a few sports, and you may have even heard of them yourself, Juliet, that are taking off globally at the moment. And there are a few developers that are already
Mm,
involved. And we just want to be a key player within the areas and the spaces that we're passionate about. The land side to the business, the land agency, is growing from strength to strength. And we're currently in the process of a huge recruitment drive. So for us, we want to be able to build out our team. And naturally, like any business, we've got our non-execs, but one of our main goals is to build our core team out. I mean, even acquiring something like a full-time surveyor is crucial moving forward
mm,
because there is so much due diligence that needs to be done when acquiring sites to make sure that they tick all the boxes before pulling that trigger, so to speak. But in short, clients should be looking out for the leisure side of the business starting up, sites being acquired, which of course will then require development finance, meaning more opportunities for new and current clients. And yeah, that is effectively what there is to look forward to.
I love the leisure thing because, of course, this is the Olympic year as well. So you've timed it extremely well,
Yeah, yeah,
particularly
yeah.
with this announcement coming forward. But what fascinates me about the planning side of things is that governments, well, certainly the current government and its predecessor, they said, yes, we're going to cut through the red tape because that's the thing which really holds up planning, particularly housing, etc.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So are
absolutely.
you confident that with the new government that perhaps we can actually cut through some of the red tape, which is going to make your life easier in terms of developing the leisure arm, but also as well in terms of buying land or clients buying land for residential accommodation?
Yeah, I think in terms of the overall market, Julia, I personally think the property market's in a really good place. The Labour government coming in is meaning that there's an excitement around the housing boom. The overall demand has increased. Interest rates have come down ever so slightly, making the cost of borrowing more affordable. It is the perfect storm for us to really go on and kick on now.
But that's fascinating as well because you do focus on buy to let in the residential sector.
Hmm.
And there are some people who say, well, maybe it's time to exit it because it's not as sexy as it used to be, that some of the tax benefits have gone. And of course, we've got a budget coming up in October, and we don't quite know what the Chancellor is going to reveal in that briefcase.
Absolutely. And we've been able to factor that in. And more clients now, low risk investors especially, are looking more towards the fixed rate development finance. So we've actually got quite a few clients now coming out of the traditional buy to let revenue streams and looking at different ways of not only diversifying their portfolio, but actually completely re-educating themselves in the property market to adapt to the current scenario and the current situation.
So if anything, it's making them more flexible rather
Yeah.
than just selling
Yeah.
up. It's like let's use what we've got, but perhaps handle things in a different way and grow the portfolio in a different
Yeah.
way.
Absolutely.
Okay, but look, you're doing so much, and of course, the leisure side of things, that's really fascinating. And I do hope as well that we get to touch base with you about that at the back end of the year. But for those who are keen to get in touch with you personally or with a member of the Oakridge Property Group team, how can they do this?
Yeah, I mean, the best way to do it is quite simply by filling in a contact form online. Naturally, every investor, every client's got different goals, different timeframes, and different budgets to work with as well. So depending on what their criteria is, will depend on what arm they're put into the business. But as I say, we're always happy to speak, and we're always got our hands on deck. To contact me personally, it probably is LinkedIn. I know people are quite big on that at the moment, but yeah, we're always happy to speak.
So Sam, good luck going forward. I have a feeling you're going to be doing a lot of talking
I hope
this
so.
year.
Fingers
I'm
crossed.
sure you will. And don't forget to pencil us into your diary because we want to have a conversation with you about that leisure development. Is that a promise?
Absolutely, I can promise you that, Juliet.
Fantastic. We're going to leave it there, but big thanks there to Sam Bright. Sam, as a reminder, is the Managing Director and founder of Oakridge Property Group.
Thanks very much, Juliet.